What's up, Dad?
What's up, Dad? What's up? What's up, Dad? What's up?
You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it.
Hey, everybody, we got the What's Up, Dad podcast. Here it is. We are at it, and you're going to notice something a little different today. Ryan and I are not sitting next to each other. We got a lonely spot right here on my left side, and Ryan is locked in a office space over there. So don't tell his employer that he's using work time to record an episode.
Nice.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I'm joking. Hopefully he doesn't get in trouble. He took time off for this. Guys, he took time off for this.
After work time. It's after.
Yeah, exactly. No, we had to make some scheduling changes and whatnot. Thought about doing a throwback episode and a shout out to it and trying to figure out how to work all that stuff in when we make mistakes with scheduling conflicts and stuff. But we are here to make this happen. So super excited with regards to that. We stopped giving out what episode number this is. So wherever you're watching it is whenever you're watching it, which makes it exciting. But I will say this, Ryan brought to my attention yesterday that we got a good trend of viewership going on right now, listeningship. And I think that's exciting. So I think we have easy wins that are occurring right now. Did we make any changes necessary to it? No, I don't think so either. But we have changes in the viewership, and that's pretty exciting in my opinion. So, Ryan, what you got to add before we hop into today's shenanigans for the What's Up Dad podcast?
Yeah, I appreciate the listenership. The listenership has improved. I like that word, listenership. And no, it's a beautiful afternoon. And it's weird to be over here, actually. I like the energy that we kind of feed off of each other when we're like together in the same room. So it's a little different to be on the other side of the screen from you. But no, it's good. It's good.
So now we
It's
get to
good.
feel it a little differently, right? There's like a different feel to it. So I don't know how this is going to go because I can definitely, it's one thing to sit right next to you and the body language is like it's easier to be read, right? Not that you're up on the camera because I know you're not like meant to be that way, but like being next to somebody and going back and forth is a whole lot easier than this way, especially if we lead the podcast, right? So I think that's a factor that we run into. I agree with that.
Yeah, that's
I
an
agree with
issue.
it.
That's an issue. I think we saw that with our guests too. Like when we've had guests in studio versus folks that have joined virtually. And you probably felt that a lot because all of, up until episode 20, everyone was in you didn't have anyone in person, right? So
No, we had a couple people in person, but again, it wasn't recorded. So we just sat back and chatted.
yeah.
And it wasn't recorded in the same way. So like I remember like Nate Hillary, Preston Black. There was a handful of them that were in person. I do remember that. But again, I go back to the scenario is we didn't do like a physical we were not here for a physical recording, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the piece of the puzzle that we run into there.
It's weird being on this side because you can't see my screen, but like I have all these things kind of like popped up on the side with names and percentage of download and like my volume and stuff. So it is it's different being over here for sure.
Oh, lovely. That sounds like fun. Well, do you got anything you want to talk about today that we're going to give to the viewers? I think last week the episode went really well, talking about faith and blessings and just different perspective. Are we tying today's episode because we're changing it up and right into it? Are we jumping right into that follow up, or do you have other stuff? Because I have stuff that I'm ready to share, and I'm sure you do as well.
Yeah, that's great. No, I think we can jump right in. I don't have anything else to add right now. I think that us jumping right into the conversations last week was really good. And if you didn't get a chance to check out last week's episode, be sure to check it out because chocked full of a lot of good stuff. So no, jump in. I can't see your paper. I see you have a paper. I don't know what's written on there. I
Love
see.
it.
Did you trade out the chair, by the way? Is that or
I don't know why this one was. Okay. So you don't know this.
okay?
You do not. At least I don't think I told you this or not. I secretly, when the son mother dance happened, I
Mhm.
recorded a podcast with the girls. It's in the vault. So I had to sit in this chair, and the girls sat in little chairs. And then mom got home, and she's like, "You're not releasing that." And I'm like, so it's in the vault, ready to be released at one point in time. I was trying to make the night fun, and it was like the last thing. I'm like, "You girls want to record a podcast?" And they were like, "Woo!" You know, so man, it was wild. And so, yes, I did change out the chair because I sat in this one and they had the two regular chairs so they didn't fall off their seat. That is what happened. I do feel really weird. I don't like sitting in this chair, as I actually realizing right now.
Yeah, it's too
Um,
comfortable. Maybe it's too comfortable of a chair.
yeah. Well, but being a dad is being uncomfortable, so I don't like that. I think that's the thing, that there's a level of uncomfortability that we have to go through as being a dad, and so I'm not sure how much I like it at the end of the day. So, couple things I wanted to get into today before we jump into the meat and potatoes of the episode, just to get a little bit warmed up. We're going to talk about dad hacks, right? We're going to do something a little bit different. Let's talk about dad hacks. Do you have any dad hacks for bedtime tricks, food hacks, or getting the kids out the door faster?
Mm.
That's what I want to talk about on the funness and the sporadicness of a dad hack
Diving
today.
deep.
Any?
Diving deep.
eh,
The bed one is interesting because recently it's been Parker has been having a difficult time going to bed. And typically, we'll do something at night, like we'll play something, or recently he likes to play darts, so we've been playing darts a lot. And he'll kind of read and then go to bed. He has not been doing that over the last all week, basically. He has not followed that routine. He is wanting to stay up and do things later. And then last night at 1 o'clock, or the other night at 1 a.m., he also decided to come and like lay in our bed. And that was new. That hasn't happened in a while. So something's been off this week. So I can't use this week because actually it's not going well. Typically, though, as far as a hack goes, like we spend the last hour before he goes to bed doing something together. So some type of um, activity. Could be darts, it could be basketball. He likes to do foosball and pool. Like we got that like change out table where there's like nine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do some of that, and then read it. Like, so he has to read for about 30 minutes before he goes to bed. So dad hack wise, I just make sure that I uphold my end of the bargain, because if I don't uphold my end of the bargain, he calls me out and he also doesn't go to sleep. Because he wants to do that activity or that game, and that's that kind of like that last 30-45 minutes of time is like our time to do something
Okay.
before he goes to bed.
Now, are you? Let me clarify something. Is this a you and Amber scenario where you're both involved in bedtime routine? Or are you the bedtime routine person?
It's just me.
Just you? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I put Amber to bed and then I go put Parker to bed.
That's funny. That's funny. The more I've talked to guys, it's actually pretty common that men are involved in the bedtime routine. I've realized that that's a interesting perspective. I didn't realize, like, I'm heavily involved in the bedtime routine as well too, if not leading it most nights and stuff like that. That's been one of the things that I've taken on and done for years. Um but it's I didn't know how common that was with regards to it. Now, one kid to three kids, one kid to two kids, and three kids and four kids changes the whole dynamic, because now I'm only one person, and it's like three teeth to get brushed, three hairs to get brushed, three showers that got to be taken, three of everything substantially changes it. Um, what I will say on the multiple kid scenario is usually one or two of them get left out. And I hate to say that, because it's like, okay, the 5 minute thing turns into 15 minutes with one, and then 15 takes away 5 from the other, and then the other one's left with 0.
Yeah.
So it's like it's that dynamic is extremely difficult as dad going up to do that. Um, so it's tough, right?
Mhm.
It's tough. Now we have routines, we have stuff that we go through, but it's weird because you try to work towards each one of their needs and you try to assist them all and stuff like that. My perspective of a dad hack, like, and I think what you're going with is creating a routine, which I love that. Most people don't have one. Um, my perspective as a dad is guys, if you're not doing it, just be involved in bedtime. That's it. Like, I will tell you this: my wife has more freedom and decompression during that time of just that 30-minute window, 45-minute, or even an hour window when we're going doing the bedtime, where it's
Mhm.
like she can decompress and like clean up or do stuff in the house like that she needs to be doing that she hasn't been able to do all day because like the rat race is on and the struggle's on and stuff like that. So it's like okay, I've completely got the kids in whatever capacity, so that's my dad hack, you know. So if you're not involved, get involved, take it over and see how you can assist in that. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like at about 6 p.m. until 7 a.m., it's kinda me, and then from, like, 7 a.m. till dinner, it's kind of Amber. So that's and I'm talking about, yeah, just generally, like, during the day or even at work, of course, um, you know, for her, she works and, it's all together, uh,
yeah.
but I feel like that's kinda like our how we have it divided with him, and it's easier for sure with 1 kid, um, so, yes, I blessed in a way to just have that 1 versus 2.
But it's also more difficult. I'll be honest with you. So like oftentimes people will say that it's easier with one kid, or I wish we really don't talk to people that have no kids. But like one kid perspective, we say it's easier, but honestly it can not be because it can be very draining. I'll tell you what, the most difficult times as a dad, especially of a dad of three. So I can put this in perspective as a dad of three, when I get one-on-one time with my kids, that can be the most draining time because you have to be laser focused in on to one. And I can only imagine having that day in and day out, right? With that one kid. Not to say we're not enjoying it and you're trying to, it's just like with the laser focus that you have to have, there's no other kid to bounce it off of. There's no other kid to shield you or to them to ask the question to or the perspective to change or shift or any of that stuff or to say, well, I got to go help little Johnny do something. I got to help sis do that. I got to blah, blah, blah. Like there's none of that. It's like, you're it, I'm it, we're it, here we go. You know what I mean? And that's what you're getting. Yeah, maybe it's a blessing, but it's also I can only imagine. Yeah,
Well, I
I
have
can only
no other and that's part of the blessing is probably I have no other perspective on it, right? I only know what I know, and I only know with that situation and those situations with 1 kid. Although, it would be much easier if I could say, "Hey, go play with your brother, go play with your sister," instead of bugging me to go play, or do table tennis 400 times where I'm kicking your butt. I'd rather, and so that is true that with one it can be harder in that way. But if you don't know what you don't know, right? And so you just kind of roll with it.
doesn't matter how many brothers or sisters they have, dad and mom will still trump and still need to be involved. So I get that statement. I can understand that through and through. But at the end of the day, dad and mom are still going to be a necessity in it. And I guarantee you're going to be asked to be involved and the perspectives there. So and that to me is like I'm a in parent in the perspective of I'm not gonna half, my job. So I'm gonna make sure I'm there. And that's that thing where you can't like if I'm there for one table tennis game versus 30, it doesn't matter. I'm all in for one. And that is 100% of my attention. So just something to think about. Something to think about. All right. Food hacks. I've got one. We have a rule in our house, but do you have any food hacks? Does Parker, is he a picky eater at all in any capacity?
Yeah, I mean,
What does he not eat? What's a non-negotiable he's not having?
he's not eating fruits and he's not eating vegetables. Those are the
Fruits.
those are the two things he's not eating.
Does he know exactly what fruits and vegetables are? Or are there things that you've told him that are not fruits and vegetables that you like that'll still pass through?
No, I mean, yeah, if I'm being serious, he likes cauliflower, he likes broccoli. He really likes peaches. So those are some of the main ones. But I mean, he is like me. He's like a carnivore. He'll eat meat and then more meat.
Okay.
So he's focused on that. Recently, he's started to like potatoes, not the instant, but we'll bake potatoes, and
Ooh.
that's my favorite thing to do. By the way, it is bake a baked potato. Bake a baked potato. Does that make sense? But so he started to do that more. I feel like probably when he was younger, he's 9 now going on 20. So I feel like when he was younger, yeah, we were doing that probably a little bit more, hiding stuff now it's just blatant, like, here you go, here's the food, you need to eat it. Oh, by the way, you want more of the meat? Then you gotta finish the veggies, then you gotta finish th that the food that's good for you, really good for you, in order
Mhm.
to get more. That's kind of how our play is. So we've been doing, I guess that is a hack. So we've been giving him like a smaller portion of the piece that he likes, of the food that he likes, and more of the veggies. And we're saying, hey, we know that we've limited you on your portion size here, but once you're done with the vegetables, then you can jump in and get that food. So that is definitely motivating because again, he likes whatever that main entree is most of the time.
Okay. So, two thoughts to that. One, I've never understood how kids don't like potatoes in general. My kids struggle with potatoes when they were younger. So that's a very perplexing thing to me because I feel that's like very real in my life too. My kids are not the only kids, obviously, that struggle with that. That's a weird thing. Like I mean, potatoes were a staple part of our diet growing up. So I don't recall ever not liking them. So that's very weird. And I wonder if there's other dads that struggle with their kids eating potatoes. I'm curious to hear about that. That's first and foremost. Secondly, do you eat the skin or the shell on a potato, on a baked potato? Do you eat it?
Yes,
You do. Love
100%.
it. That's my favorite part. Like, don't get me wrong, the inside of a potato is great, but man, the outside of a potato, if you guys are listening, and I know this is not a cooking show, but my goodness, if you know how to crisp up with the right amount of salt and butter and like goodness,
Mm.
there is nothing better than the outside of a potato that's cooked well. Just saying. Just
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. So and I don't know how you cook your potato, but I recently started doing it a different way where you take the potato, you mash it with the fork, right? You stick holes in
The
it.
smash. Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Not smash it yet, no. Clean it, of course, then olive oil all over it,
Okay.
and then, salt, pepper, and garlic, and then, like, all over it. Then put it in the oven, 450 degrees for about an hour. Uncovered, do not cover it with tinfoil, nothing like that. That thing is that. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
It's gonna be one of my questions to Jesus one day. Why does it take an hour to cook a baked potato? I don't understand that. I think that's one of the misnomers of like understanding how to cook something. The most like to soften a baked potato takes an hour. I think it's the weirdest thing ever. But hey, just
Because what
we
would
got to
you
line up.
do what did they do? This is why manna was so popular because they couldn't do potato. You're like, "Alright, Jesus, we need to feed 5,000 people." He's like, "Don't give me a potato." It's
Yeah,
give me something else because the potatoes, like, what do you do with that if you don't have an oven? I don't know.
I know. But like, guys, we're gonna cook for a week from now. The oven's on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. Love that. So we have an unwritten rule in our house. When new things get introduced, everybody has to take a bite and they have to take a legitimate bite. They have to try it once and fully once. They have to swallow that bite one time. If they do not like it, they don't have to eat it again. I know they've honestly tried it. If they give a one of those things, we repeat. Maybe not that same day, but the next time maybe we have to try that. We have to give it another shot. If we don't like it, great. We will continue that process. That's been one of the biggest things with us that I just make sure that I want my kids to try. I don't want them to ever turn their nose up to something without knowing what it is, just because it might look some way or smell some way or whatever it is, especially like, grandma's cooking or somebody's doing something for you. Like, I don't want them to be that way, very like snobbish, stuck up nosish perspective.
Right.
Plus you just don't know. Like, I mean, there's all kinds of foods and things in the world, and like being able to try it. Now, I don't make them eat celery. That's disgusting. But like at the end of the day, outside of that, they don't have to eat celery or cottage cheese and they're perfectly fine. I won't make them eat that stuff, but that's been our rule in the house. And it's been such a blessing, because they'll remind me, Dad, I tried this. Okay. You gave it but the thing about it is they have to give it their best effort. And that's the key. It's got to be the best effort. And so it is a reasonable bite, not a little baby bite. They have to get a full tasting of it. That'll also be for meals too. So
Yeah.
like if you make a goulash or like a stew or like something like that, they can't just a little weensy bite of it. They have to take like a serious bite. It has to have all the flavors with it. They gotta attempt it. You know what I mean? And if they're like it's repulsive to them, fine. And because we've done it, we started at a young age. They understand that Dad's serious about it. So I get minimal argument on doing it, because they also know that I'm never going to make them take a second bite if they really didn't like it. And that to me is kind of like a big key that I've fallen into. I don't know. That was like a weird food hack, just kind of throwing out there when dealing with kids.
Have you ever had a meal that just completely crashed and you had to get out the chicken nuggets or something like crazy? Like they're just like,
Absolutely.
absolutely not. I'm not eating that, and I'll go
Yeah.
starve to death before I eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
And we've dealt with that before. Just like we dealt with like, okay, kids eating chicken nuggets and everything's fine, and then all of a sudden they stop eating chicken nuggets. It's like, ugh. There's a book called Have a New Kid by Friday. I don't know if you've ever read it. Dr. Lehman or something or another. We've done a couple Bible studies on it. It's a really good book. And he talks about how like making dinner, and the kid would be like, all right, we're having spaghetti tonight. I'm not wanting spaghetti. That's fine. Call everybody else down to the table. Everybody else comes down the table. We're eating dinner. You don't make anything extra. You're not making anything separate. It smells so good in the house. The kid walks on downstairs. Nope, you didn't want spaghetti tonight. Sorry, you're not eating. And it's a very, like, it's not like this is something that you do to attack a kid or your child or anything, but it's like putting it in the perspective of knowing, like, we do know what's better for our kids. We know how to lead them. We have to be able to lead them in a very promising, understanding way. And if we don't take that principle and we let them lead us, what happens when we're out and about, or we're on vacation, or we're just normal life, or what happens when they're sick and they need to eat food and they're not wanting to? Like, they have to trust us, right? And so bringing that perspective is super important. But yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one.
Mm.
All right. What about a dad hack, getting kids out the door faster? Do you get them out the door? Amber takes Parker to school, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to do that. Okay. Any perspective? Do you help out at all getting them out the door? You said yours is like till 6 o'clock. Are you just like, I'm done, or what?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do the lunches, so I pack the lunches, I pack the
Okay.
bags, I get the waters together. I do all of that while they're upstairs kind of getting ready for the day. So that's like my 5:50 to like 6:45 routine. It's just kind of like, all right, wrapped up breakfast, I'm throwing the stuff away, cleaning up, I'm getting everything ready for lunches, and then getting them out the door. So the only thing they have to do is really just get themselves ready, and then they come down and they get their shoes on, they leave. So no, we've done that so much at this point. There's no real like knowing any other way to do it. It's pretty smooth, it's pretty efficient, and that's kind of how we do it. So I don't necessarily need a hack for that outside of like something urgent, occurs in that hour window where, he's not feeling well or Amber's not feeling well, something like crazy that kind of messes with.
Alrighty now. So here we go. With regards to everything, we had a little technical difficulties. This is why technology is hard. So Ryan, you were saying keeping a routine, I think, is the biggest part with your morning routine. Is just having a routine is super important. We do have a morning routine that's similar for us, so that's definitely a part of it that's there. I will say that our routine is a little different. We're definitely fly by the seat of our pants in the morning, uh, and that's okay. Like it's a very fast morning every single morning. But one of the things I've instilled with the kids is if you leave it or forget it, it ain't happening. Again, kind of the dynamic between 1 and 3 kids or 1 and more kids is like, I'm trying to get 3 backpacks, 3 water bottles, 3 lunches, 3 breakfasts, 3 shoes on, 3 of everything, which is a lot, plus my own self out the door in whatever capacity, and it just becomes a lot. You know what I mean? We got 3 sets of homework. We got 3 tests that are going on. So that's kind of the perspective where we've gone, well, if you forgot it, you don't have it. This morning, for example, Sydney forgot her jacket. Now, it was supposed to be 60 degrees outside today, but she had a sweatshirt on, so I didn't think anything of it. I thought she had her jacket. She was carrying it, so I didn't say anything to her. She's smart enough. She gets in the car. We're pulling out of the driveway. And she's like, Dad, I forgot my jacket. I'm like, whoop, oh well, hopefully you don't go outside today. But here's the deal though, my children have been through this before. Immediately, Skylar was like, Dad, she can borrow my jacket if she goes outside today. And I was like, that's the responsibility, adultness that has been created by the kids where they're like problem solving now. Like, and it's not like, oh, we're going to purposely leave this stuff, but they're able to problem solve on their feet a little bit more because I've taught them that way. And it's not like dad's going to be mad or frustrated or upset with you. It's more so just like problem solving through like, okay, you forgot this. You didn't necessarily make a mistake. You prioritized something else over such and such. That's what ends up happening. They prioritize playing or dilly-dallying or whatever it might be. And then all of a sudden that bites them in the butt. So it's kind of a mess overall, but it ends up working, and that's how we deal with that. So just a big piece of the puzzle, in my opinion.
So no specific hack there from you, just
No,
wing it and do it.
no. Well, I don't go to back wing it and do it. What I say to this is it's not about winging it and doing it. It's more so about kids need a responsibility, right? And over time, they've created a responsibility of knowing exactly what they need. Now, dad is there to help you. They ask me for anything in the morning, I'm doing it, right? I have a responsibility. They have a responsibility, but they've learned through. Like, I know this sounds really stupid and this might not sound great, but it's like, okay, you didn't brush your teeth this morning. You're going to have stinky breath all day long. I told you to brush your teeth. You made that choice. I'm not turning around for you to brush your teeth.
Yeah.
You didn't bring your jacket. So create responsibility for the kids. Give them a responsibility factor earlier so that they can start to understand that. Because here's the deal. When they get into the job world, when they get older, when they forget their homework, right? These responsibilities that become that much larger to them, and there's actual impact to that. And it's the minor things about getting out the door. Like, how often do you leave out the door and you forgot your computer or your laptop or your charger or your phone or your watch or your this? We don't walk out the door figuring that out, but I guarantee at some point in time we've done that. Or at some point in time, we forgot to pack our lunch, and then lunch was $25 because that was the only place that everybody wanted to go out because they spend $25 on lunch every day, and that hurts. So it's like making it in that scenario. Snacks is a big one, right? Snacks is a big one. When they forget snacks, I'm like, good luck. Hopefully there's something at school for you. But it's so funny because especially my oldest two and my youngest is starting to pick this up. It's been the first real year of school in like pre-K, but my oldest two have started to pick it up where they're like, "Hey, I have an extra snack. You can have my snack." And they care and they're able to do that. And I think they also will in some capacity share that with their peers too, right? And able to assist people, they don't want to see their brother and sister go down in blades of glory, right? But like they want, but in
Yeah.
reality, they want to feel like they've helped and they've done their responsibility too as a brother or sister. So
Yeah. No, I
not
agree.
necessarily a hack, just an advice.
Yeah, that's great.
So, all right, what you got? Any deep topics we're going to go over today other than some dad hacks and thoughts on this stuff? I have things that we can definitely talk about, but at the end of the day, you got anything burning over there, my man?
Yeah, we kept it pretty low key today. Um, I don't know. I don't know that I have anything burning for this episode. We were gonna do all the best laid plans, right? We were gonna do a St. Patrick's Day themed podcast since St. Patrick's Day was this past week. Which I don't even know what that would have looked like, quite honestly. So who knows what that would have been.
Wait a minute. We're gonna break down some thoughts here, okay? Seriously. Now that you bring that up, yes, it is after Saint Patty's Day. Do you know what Saint Patty's Day is about? You know the
Mm,
history behind that?
No, I mean, I know a little bit, not enough to like write
Well,
a.
what's a little bit? Give me a little bit. And guys, please do not judge Ryan for not having the understanding and knowledge because I don't have it either, but I have a perspective
Yeah.
and I have this. There's a point to my perspective here.
Mm-hmm. You want me to share what I know?
What do you think? What do you think? It is like St. Patty's Day is like. Is that just like a drinking holiday to you? Is that like your perspective? Is that what is St. Patty's Day to you? Like, what is it? What's the meaning behind it?
I mean, I don't really celebrate it. I don't know. I know that
All right,
there's a guy. I know there's a guy, and he was in Ireland, I think, and he did some stuff for the community or the religion or whatever there. And I don't
that's it.
know. I don't
All
know.
right,
I wear
all right.
green. I wore green that day.
You were green. We don't get pinched. Okay. So you know what's funny? So my brother, I have a fish hook tattoo. My brother had one, and for the longest time, while he was alive on the earth, I told him I wanted to get the same fish hook tattoo on my opposite ankle. Ended up getting that same tattoo. It's something I have, and I wear proudly, and I look at and think of him all the time on. Regardless, he also had a 4-leaf clover. Well, his birthday was on March 4th, so being on March 4th, the 4, and he had some representation of that. He's not Irish. I'm not Irish. No Irish bloods or tendencies. He loved Jameson. Jameson's great, whatever, right? Whole nother thing. But we don't have a lick of St. Patty Irish in us, right? And at least not that I know of, okay? Um, I told Beth he had 3 tattoos, and I've contemplated for a while now because I have a couple tattoos I do want. I wanted to get a 4-leaf clover, and I've thought about getting a 4-leaf clover, and I was going to use his design and just a small one, nothing crazy. And she's like, "You're not getting a 4-leaf clover. You're not Irish." And I was like, "I beg you pardon. That's bullcrap." And she's like, and Beth gave me her response because most people that do not know the holiday or history don't know what the holiday or history is about. So therefore, we have a mixed perspective of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, it is a guy that spread Christianity throughout Ireland. He was making a movement to spread Christianity. That's what it's for.
There you
Now
go.
you got drinking and the 4-leaf clover and green and all that other stuff, more so from the Irish and built into a bigger holiday. This is the Hallmark version of it, right? In that sense. Um, but I told her that she's like, no way. Google absolutely shows all that on there. Did a little research on my own, shows all that on there. And I just thought it was really interesting nonetheless. So
Yeah.
there is my terrible history lesson. I apologize if anybody is Irish. I don't know the full story. I don't know the full scenario, but I did find that interesting to learn a little bit more. I just didn't know about it. And yeah, there's a history lesson for today.
There it is.
So I don't know where that came from, but I really wish I did drink a Guinness for St. Patty's Day because that is tradition. However, I don't know how to open one, so that was fun, and that was an experience all in itself. But I
You
also
learned.
made a Guinness. Oh shoot, what was it? Uh, uh, Not a martini, a Guinness espresso martini with Guinness. That was impeccable. That was great. Yeah.
You had
So
that for breakfast that morning?
yeah, I woke up and then drove the kids to No, I didn't have it for breakfast. Get out of here. No, I thought, like, when am I gonna have this? And I had it in the afternoon. We weren't going anywhere, doing anything, so I had it, like, late afternoon. I'm like, "Thank goodness," because I'd have been up all night. Like, coffee, would have kept me
And
up.
then
Energy drink, I'd go to sleep in an hour. Coffee, would be like, "Meow," wired.
wild. Yeah.
So,
That day we almost went out and got Krispy Kreme was doing green donuts. And so we were gonna go out. Yeah, we look at all the buy one, get ones, all that kind of stuff. Everyone's kind of jumping on that. That one was intriguing because that was the green, the one green thing that was going on. Um, but yeah. Then the next day, I feel like the next day people were doing something if you wore blue. I don't know what
no clue.
happened. There's no day after, but yeah, interesting, to say the least. There's businesses that are closed on St. Patrick's Day? There's businesses that close for that?
Every holiday, right, wrong, or indifferent, there's people that close for them. That's their decision of doing that stuff. So I don't know how to look at that. I've never understood it. We just manage through it as a business owner. It's something you just think about, but yeah, it's kind of a unique scenario. I mean, but I guess if you're Irish, right, and you celebrate it, and that's part of your heritage, and sure, go for it. I mean, if that's what you want to do, that sounds fantastic.
Let him live. He says, "Let him live." So
Let
there
them live.
they go.
Let them live. So, all right. Any dad wins of the week?
Dad wins of the week this week? No, probably more so losses than wins, unfortunately. Um, so we'll see. My son ended up in the principal's office today. So I learned about that a couple hours ago, and so he was mad at the Spanish teacher, and so which it's Spanish, right? So who wouldn't be mad at the Spanish teacher? I would probably be mad at the Spanish teacher. I don't know the context of the situation, but he was disrespectful, so we
Whoa.
had to deal with that. He got lunch with the principal today, because of that. So,
Lovely.
um, yeah, so it's one of those situations where we've been working on that kind of stuff, and we've had a lot of wins, about kind of, hey, how you're managing your behavior when you kind of get upset. This is how you react. This is what you should do, and that's been going well. So we've had some wins there for sure, but a couple drawbacks today. So we'll see when I get home and get the chance to talk with him, kind of what happened there. But um, otherwise, yeah, it's been a week. It's been kind of a rough week from the dad perspective because there's just been a lot. Like I mentioned, he's not been sleeping. He's kind of been up at night. He's having some issues at school. So hopefully he'll get back on the right track. But yeah, it's not all cupcakes and rainbows, right? Being a dad.
Dude, ain't that the truth? Somehow they moved up Sydney's test, her normal spelling test, and all the tests from tomorrow to today. I don't know. You throw that out of the blue. You got all these different things. You've got Carter's out of school tomorrow for whatever reason. I mean, mixed match of schedule. I feel that. I mean, consistency is killing us. And then guess what? What do we have next week? We have spring break. I mean,
Yeah.
and I think my kids were like, for 16 days, I'm going to be home. I'm like, 16 days? You don't have to say it like it's half a month. You were out 16 days ago for 16 days then. Like, give me a
Yeah,
freaking break. So you spent half this year at home, it seems like.
that's
COVID
true.
4.0 right now. Jeez, oh, geez. I mean, just unbelievable with regards to that. Um, Awesome, 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 awesome. All right, one thing that I have, do you have what you would consider is the most overrated or underrated piece of parenting advice you were ever given?
Overrated or underrated? Man, that's good. You want to take a swing at it first? That's a good question.
I think the most underrated piece of advice is I have a couple things that I think are extremely underrated, right? Not waking a sleeping baby. For some people, they think that schedules are more important than sleep. Nope. I think that tradition goes farther into your kid territory the older they get. Let them sleep. They need it. There's a reason their bodies are tired. Let them sleep. We
Yeah.
don't know what they're fighting or they're dealing with and everything. So I think that's a huge underrated or understood perspective. I think picking and choosing your battles is super underrated, even though we're the parents and we're right. You know what I mean? Like we're supposedly right with everything because we are parents and moms and dads. I think still offering up to pick and choose those battles is super important with them. Not to say we're not going to be right, but it's what kind of right do you want to be as a parent? You know what I mean? Because sometimes it takes a lot of grace to be right, and sometimes when you beat their butts in a game of foosball, it can be over the hill right. You know what I mean? So it's like depending on where that scenario is, and you got to be able to play whatever card and however that's going, we have to be able to manage that. Um, those are a couple things. And then two, I felt like um, a lot of people talked about how difficult it was going from that. I saw in a dad group was talking about going from how hard is it going from 0 kids to 1 kid to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and stuff like that. Because we talked a lot about the kid perspective, you having 1, us having 3. 1 kid is harder than 2 kids. 3 kids is harder than it doesn't necessarily get harder. 4 is where it transitions again. And I would say wherever you stand in those scenarios, don't let your and I say this in perspective, don't let your financial status and wear out control that, because by the time it truly matters, if you're thinking about having a kid or attempting to have that, that's a blessing in whatever capacity it is. Don't let that be the overcumbering perspective. God is blessing us with whatever children and putting us in our life wherever we need to be and holding on to that. And it was a guy that was wildly overthinking. And he used the terminology which really was scary to me. He was like, my life was perfect with 2 kids. We have a third and I feel like my life is ruined.
Wow.
He goes, I didn't know how much harder, and this is what he talked about. He goes, I got to buy a new vehicle. When we travel, we need another hotel room. It's more expensive to go eat, and the waits are longer at dinner. And I'm like, what world is feeding you with that is your problems?
Yeah.
That is mind-boggling, and I worry that most men deal with those same issues that guy was dealing with versus just that's just what it is, right? And this is the life that you have been put in, and you'll be the best dad to how many ever kids that you have, and you're going to be the best parent to whatever that situation is and being present. And then two, kind of outside of all that thing is your kids matter, but your spouse matters more, right? And making sure that that's the thing, because I think too many people will transition and will be like, hey, I'm just a dad now. No, you're still a spouse first, right? Be a spouse, because that is a relationship that if that goes somewhere, we are in absolute trouble.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. I feel like we could probably do our own episode on that topic and kind of where you're starting to go with that, because another piece of that is, hey, there are people out there that don't have kids that maybe should have kids, and there are people out there that have kids that probably shouldn't have kids. And you get into that kind of dynamic and that kind of conversation about how that looks and how that works. I know that's something that has been frustrating to us, as we tried to have a second kid and not being able to get, you know, not being able to do that. But then you're kind of you're looking at other folks who, I want to say this with all due respect to those people, but who probably shouldn't have kids, that are just popping them out like left and right, and they're complaining about this, they're complaining about that, like, oh, my kids are horrible, and so you have these unique situations that occur. And I think at the end of the day, it's just um, you know we are given these children for a reason. People don't necessarily handle it in the right way, and that doesn't have any bearing or any impact on like why they did or why they didn't have kids, or why God blessed them or didn't bless us. And I think sometimes you kind of get too deep into that kind of thought process. At the end of the day, if you have one kid or you have 25 kids, that would be crazy. But God's blessed you, and your mission is to support, love, and guide and help grow that kid, and hopefully get them into a relationship with Jesus, and a lifelong friendship with God. But yeah, I think that's something that is interest of me, and I've thought about that a lot. But not to dive, because we kind of went off the rails a
Yeah.
little bit here, but yeah.
It's a big piece. It's a big piece, and I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, sometimes we can get so caught up in what other people have versus what we have and where we're at. And like I think about you guys a lot with regards to trying to have another kid and stuff like that, and praying for you and letting God lead your situation and whatever he has plans for, right? And it's one of those things that you think about that, and it's like, at the end of the day, you could also choose to be a really crappy parent to Parker too, right? And not, you know what I mean? So it's like, we all have choices in our current circumstances, our future circumstances, in everything between. So it's a lot. That's a whole lot to unpack, right? And we can unpack that, probably a conversation that we're sitting next to each other, maybe with another person or whatever it might be. But it's a crazy deep one at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
yeah. But well, that's all I got here. Now I got to figure out how to piece together our technical difficulties here. We appreciate you guys hanging on. This is a different type of episode, and really excited about where we're taking all this stuff, continuing to dive into deeper conversations sooner, quicker, and being more efficient and effective about it. But we appreciate everybody listening. Hang on tight. We got a lot of good stuff coming. Ryan, you got anything else?
Nothing else. We are looking for folks to join us if you are interested, or even if you're not interested, too bad. We're looking for folks to jump on and join us on the podcast. So I posted a video the other day. Now it's the other day, so I'm gonna say the other day. It was actually yesterday, but that we're looking for we've had some interesting guests, and we've had folks that have also said, I think we talked about this last time, nothing to offer. I don't have anything. I don't do this. I don't have a business. I don't have that. And we're really just looking for folks to get on and have real, raw, relevant conversations about a number of topics. So, if that's you, hopefully you would be interested in joining, and hit us up and let us know.
That's it. I love it. I love all the good information. Exactly right. Anybody can be a fit for this. So definitely fill out the information and go from there. And if you say you're going to fill it out, actually do it so we can reach out to you. We've had a ton of that too. That's a whole nother problem. Commitment issues. Man, is that a deep rooted problem with men? I don't know, but hey, maybe it is. So
I like it. That's an episode. That's a future episode. Commitment issues.
Commitment issue. So, all right, Ryan, appreciate you. Thanks, guys, for watching the What's Up Dad podcast. Take it easy.
What's up, Dad? Hey, Dad, what's up?